Hello everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today on how to deliver a practical IT course with a basic computer lab. My name is Matt and I'm here with my business partner Jerry. We're from eduLAB. First, I'd like to say a huge thanks to Michelle from Cricos Consultancy for giving us this unique opportunity to share our knowledge with her audience. I truly hope that everyone who's here today will take valuable information that could help your college. So, quick intro. The purpose of this webinar is to encourage more colleges to offer practical IT courses. As you can see on sig.com.au, there is a really massive demand for IT professionals out there. However, we saw that there is just not enough colleges that offer practical IT courses. According to our research, currently there are 35 colleges in New South Wales offering IT courses, and only 13 of them had more than 7 practical units. Since the core units are mainly theory-based, in order to offer a practical learning experience, colleges will need to choose more practical elective units. Open Colleges released a report that information technology sector has become one of the fastest growing industries in the world in the last decade. And in Australia alone, IT industry grew by over 20% in 2018. As daily processes are really becoming more and more digitalized, we see that the demand for IT specialists will only continue to increase. Personally, we really want to see more graduates out there that we could hire. It's really such a struggle for us to recruit the right candidates. They show up to the interview with their advanced diploma in IT or even master's degree in IT, but they really struggle with the basic level 1 IT support tasks. So we do really hope that this webinar will encourage some of you to offer more practical IT courses. So with no further ado, let's jump straight in. Initially there were 6 questions we sent you, however we were able to put 4 of them into one. So I have transformed all questions into 3 simple questions. So first one, how to deliver practical ICT units with the latest technology available and with the computers that you already have. The second one, how to bring consistency in IT delivery regardless of the trainer. And the third one is how to support your students to become job-ready graduates. Let's start with the first one, how to deliver practical ICT units with the latest technology available and with computers that you already have. When I say practical IT units, I'm talking about units like ICT MWK 529, which is install and manage complex ICT networks, and ICT MWK 536, plan, implement and test enterprise communication solutions. So those units, they're great for providing a real learning experience for students who want to become network engineer or systems administrator. So these units are designed to deliver real hands-on skills. However, to offer such practical IT units, colleges require a complex lab setup and support in multiple technical components, such as running several operating systems within the lab at the same time, like Microsoft Windows Server and Linux distributions. Then we require worldwide connectivity simulations between different sites. For example, simulation of a head office network connected down with a bunch of branch offices, and which consists of testing numerous authentication and encryption protocols used to protect data at rest or transit. So this complex lab setup then needs to facilitate every individual student so they can work independently on the project and demonstrating their performance and knowledge. As units cannot be completed within one school hour, this lab needs to accommodate a continuous learning experience through the term. So good news is that with virtual lab, even if you have refurbished classroom computers and monolithic network designs, students will be able to access their virtual lab environments as long as they have a web browser and access to the internet. When you access a virtual lab, sharing of the lab environment will become things of the past. That means that colleges will no longer need to refresh the labs after being used by a previous student. And each student will get their own individual lab environment so they can continue their assignment at home from where they left it in a class. We saw that some people mix up a virtual lab with cloud-based applications. So the cloud-based application is a software offered by a service provider. For example, your accounting software in a cloud, where the virtual computer lab could consist a set of applications and various operating systems and complex network designs which are contextualized to satisfy the training package. A virtual computer lab is a one-stop cloud solution where you can access the complex systems to deliver practical units. So where can you find this virtual computer lab? Well, it's in eduLAB. eduLAB is a virtual computer lab that offers the latest technology with pre-designed real-life scenarios in one portal. And importantly, it won't cost you an arm and a leg. So, how much of the capital investment would we need to facilitate such complex lab setup with physical equipment? Is that tens of thousands of dollars? I hope it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, with eduLAB we have pay-as-you-grow model which is suitable for any college size. Few of our clients have shared their concern in regards to inconsistency in their IT class delivery. So trainers were using applications and learning resources that are familiar to them. And as a result, when the new trainer comes, students were learning from different resources. And this brought inconsistency in their learning outcomes. Over the years, learning management systems, or LMS, brought some level of consistency for theory-based resources. It allows trainers to access the same learning resources and monitor performance of the learners. So let's ask ourselves, what would you need to manage the lab environment that brings consistency in practical delivery component? For example, performance evidence in ICT Web 502 unit says, produce dynamic web pages that include both client and server-side dynamic content. This can be executed by using classic ASP or Django or Node.js framework. We see that web development is really one of the fastest changing technology. And that means if your trainer happens to be familiar with the classic ASP framework and chooses to use it in the classroom, it's not going to help much to students to be job ready. The college should be able to choose a technology that is in the high demand on the market and offer it to the students as a learning tool. If trainer is not familiar with the technology chosen by the college, trainer should be able to do some personal development and deliver the class. It should not be the other way around. For this reason, we embedded a lab management system into the eduLAB. eduLAB consolidates all the lab requirements for teaching and learning in one portal. Once the master lab environment is designed, it will be provisioned to all students and the relevant trainers. So trainers and students will then share the same lab environment, completing assessment tools. And this is how you could bring consistency in IT delivery regardless of the trainer. Last but not least, how to support your students to become job-ready graduates. First of all, here's my question for you. Will it be possible for an education provider to make students job-ready graduates? Well, I think the work has to be done for both ends, students and the education providers. When I was 19, I accompanied my father to his job interview. I was just fresh from high school, but I was quite familiar with the technology and the workplace. In the end of the interview, I got a job and not my dad. It was simply because I was really interested in IT. I must say I spent lots of time in front of the computer, fiddling around and trying different things, and before I knew it, I was job ready. However, my dad was the one who provided me with the right playground for me to focus on IT. Oh, and in the end my dad got a job as well, so it was all good. If a student is willing to spend time and energy in the right IT learning environment, this will help the student to flourish and become job ready. What would be the right learning environment for practicing IT? Julie Riley, a learning designer at Harvard University, says, "People learn best when they're interacting more with the material and with each other." For this very reason, she created a flexible learning environment where the technology in the room is designed to complement a range of uses. For IT students, colleges can provide a flexible learning place where a complex lab setup can become their virtual sandbox. In this sandbox, they could freely make errors while mastering their IT skills, so when they end up in the workplace, they would know how to avoid making missteps. In eduLAB environment, students could safely do some hacking without compromising any damage to the college network system, so students are permitted to go wild in the virtual world. So, how to support your students to become job-ready graduates? My answer would be, provide them with a safe lab environment with eduLAB. Thank you for everyone for joining the webinar today. I hope the information provided encouraged you to offer a practical IT course. And if it did, you have to try eduLAB. I think that's all. I'll be online in the webinar for another minute or two before we finish for today. So thank you everyone for your participation and have a great day.